Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader,
Yes.
probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers,
Yes.
do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and the Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today, and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting, to take time and read the 32 odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are 2 speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England, and a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photograph very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it was so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do. True. And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what battles had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have emerged. That the Caucasians have been responsible for monumental discoveries in the development of man. So have the Chinese, so have the Arabs. But the Africans have been responsible for nothing. They are only fit as hewers of wood and drawers of water. And I want to submit to you who are present here that in the conceptual West's unguarded moments, that is what they think. And that is how they relate to Africa. So the whole idea that they will interfere is something that they think is their God-given duty. I said there were two speeches in 1963 that I wanted to refer to. I referred to David Dacko. The second one was the speech by Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame provided the solution. He did not complain about colonialism. He said, we must live here with one army, with one command. We must live here with one currency. We must live here with one currency, one country. I do not know where its capital will be, but I suggest Leopoldville or Bangui. Other leaders may have their thoughts. Kwame was right, but who listened to him? Several years down the line, and I've said it in my paper, there were coup d'etats which were engineered, there were mutinies which were engineered, and other forms of destabilization. And I want to believe that the person who actually said it very well in the 1980s was the former American President Ronald Reagan. He said, the United States of America does what is in her best interest. And I agree with him. Does Africa do what is in her best interest? Do African leaders do what is in the best interest of Africa? Interference will be there in very blatant and brazen ways and in subtle ways. I've always asked, until very recently, how many African countries manufactured bullets? Very few. Until very recently, how many African countries, in fact, how many African countries manufacture jet fighters? How many African countries are involved in the arms industry? Some of the leading conceptual West countries which pontificate to us about prizes, peace prizes, are the leading manufacturers of landmines. And if you look at their foreign exchange earners, it is the military and security items. So they say with their mouths, what do they not believe in their hearts? In Kiswahili.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us today, the 29th of July 2019. Just a day before the end of July, the year is fast ending. So if you had written some, goals you wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year, hoping you're working on them and you're able to achieve at least some of it. Thank you so much. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and this is another edition of Good Morning Africa. Dr. Matanga will be joining me in a bit. But first of all, I just wanted us to just go through some news making headlines in Africa, and then when it comes we can talk about it, and of course what is making headlines here in Kenya. So let me just take us through the news making headlines here in Kenya quickly, just the headlines of the major Kenya newspapers, and then we can cross over to the news making headlines in Africa. There's a lot that is making headlines in Africa this morning, of course being a Monday, so much happened over the weekend, and I will be keeping you up to date and bring you the latest from the continent, so please stick around. We start with, the headlines here on the Standard newspaper. Of course, by now, it's one of the leading newspapers here in Nairobi, Kenya. And it says, why Uhuru avoided Ruto at the airport. And it says their confusion. Sources close to presidency saying, Kenyatta gave his deputy a wide berth in reaction to statements by Dr. Ruto's allies at a rally on Friday. So the president was coming from Zambia on Saturday, and his vice president, Dr. William Ruto, was at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to receive the president. That is according to the Standard. And it says that, so he was waiting for the president at the VIP lounge, where it is expected the head of state would have come through there before he goes to his motorcade and straight to State House. But instead, the president, chose to use just the normal international arrivals session, which is completely the opposite of the protocol that is expected, for a head of state. And so while the vice president was waiting for him at the VIP lounge, the president left through the other just normal where everybody else was using the international arrivals section. So before he knew it, the president was gone, and the vice president, I think, left later. So let me just look at that. And of course, this is something that when Dr. Matanga, I would like to hear his thoughts on this. It is said, the President Uhuru Kenyatta decision to bypass the presidential pavilion where his deputy William Ruto waiting to receive him and leave the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport through the ordinary passenger terminals upon arriving from a trip to Zambia has added impetus to the recent talk of a souring of relations between the two. So if you want the details, just go to the Standard on page 9 and you can read the whole of it. And still on the headlines here on the Standard, Watitu's a big fight to remain in office. And also when I was reading that story about Vice President, why the president snubbed his vice waiting for him at the presidential pavilion there at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, apparently, according to the Standard, Vice President was accompanied by the embattled Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, who is right now at that time was being sought by the police over serious allegations of crime and corruption that has happened and mismanagement of funds that has happened in his county, that is Kiambu County. So it is believed that the vice president was accompanied by Governor Ferdinand Waititu, who right now is facing those charges on the Kenyan court. And so on Saturday he had not yet presented himself at that time. So I don't know, maybe he wanted the president to intervene. I have no idea, but he was there. That is according to the Standard. He had accompanied the DP there, and they wanted to welcome the president back from Zambia. So maybe it is that might have advised the president to use a different route, because the president is trying to fight corruption. He's made it very clear, and right now, the Treasury CS, Henry Rotich, I was just watching before we came in. There are a few people who right now are appearing in court to answer to charges of the scandal that has blown out of proportion, the dam scandal involving Aurora and Kimorel, and the CS for Treasury, and the manner in which the money was, got its way out of Treasury. He has to be answerable for that. Him and other 26 other people are facing the charges this morning. So for the DP, to decide that he was going to carry Ferdinand Waititu, who right now is facing very serious corruption charges in his own county and public mismanagement of funds for the public for what was meant to benefit and develop Kiambu County, and that has been seen to have mismanaged. In fact, according to reports, one of his daughters, who is a college student right now, allegedly had millions, maybe around 100 million or so in her bank account, and so Kiambu County has lost about 588 million Kenya shillings. That is according to, the DPP and the ESCC, who are going after him. So to know this person is facing these charges, and to understand, as his vice president, as the vice president of Uhuru Kenyatta, the stand that he has taken to fight corruption, and the president has been expressing his frustration because the people he thought that could be on his, turf, help him fight this menace called corruption that is really has affected the economy of this country. And they are the same people in his quarters that are seen to be perpetrators of this crime, that are seen to be the driving factor and have been mentioned adversely. Even the vice president has been allegedly been mentioned so much in matters corruption, but of course he's every time he gives he says that nobody has really gone to court or gone to police or gone to the DCI and written an official report. So this he treats them as allegations, but even with that, he has been mentioned extensively in matters corruption. So the president is coming back. You decide to take Ferdinand Waititu, somebody who should be at the custody, somebody who should be speaking to the police, somebody who should be at the DCI's office, somebody who should be speaking to the EACC, and you want to bring him to the airport to receive the president. And this person has been mentioned adversely on corruption, and the president is fighting the same corruption. Of course, that was not going to work out, and maybe the president was avoiding the awkwardness of it all, if at all they had met. But also, on I think on the same Saturday, some of vice president lieutenants were somewhere, is it in Nyandarua and some other place, and they were talking in a public event, and they were castigating President Kenyatta's efforts in fighting corruption, and specifically, I think, is it Kate, somebody, the Laikipia women representative, I think she had said, she mentioned something to the effect of the CS for Treasury, Henry Rotich, being, accused now of corruption, and he has been arraigned in court. She termed this as a political witch hunt, and so that might have not sat very well with the president, because you would expect these are members of his party. These are people that they created this manifesto together for Kenyans, and he was hoping that they would rally behind him, especially in the war against corruption, but the president has not received that very much, especially from his own party members. And now we have several teams that have divided, that have emerged from the Jubilee Party, and so it has been very difficult. So I would understand why the president, might have snubbed his Vice President William Ruto. But also, I think that is a very bold move on the president's part, and also I think he's just tired, perhaps. just my thinking. He's just tired of this battering. You know, when you see them in public, they really try to act up like they're buddy, they're doing well, they're together, you know, they're working together, the president and his vice. But the rift has been very evident, even when you see their body language. Even any body language expert, forget even body language expert, any person that is able to really see and what's happening, you can tell normally it's not sitting very pretty with them. So maybe the president is just tired of playing Mr. Nice, and so now he's saying, if you're not with me on this, then perhaps let me, there's no need for us to pretend to be on a working relations. And the fact that the DP thought it was okay for him to carry along with him the governor for Kiambu, Mr. Ferdinand Waititu, I think that must have that must have brought him the discomfort that perhaps so the president, avoid his deputy president. Just my thinking from what we've read here this morning. So that is just the standard. And here, Catherine Waruguru, she said, we know there are 28 people who are being coerced to testify against Treasury CS Rotich. So that is what the Laikipia Women of Parliament said over the event over the weekend. And Ndindi Nyoro said, I know you will be president in 2022. Muranga people and the rest of Mount Kenya are behind you. So he was addressing that to the Vice President William Ruto. They were the same event. And of course, Oscar Sudi said, William Ruto, let me tell you, your friendship with President Uhuru Kenyatta is fake. And he has been very consistent with this. Last week, he came out and said, you know what? We know that Jubilee government is dead. We know that the government is not working exactly for the people, so it's time for President Uhuru Kenyatta to quit. And that is what Mr. Oscar Sudi said last week. And he's here. He's being very consistent with his sentiments. Now he's saying William Ruto, he thinks that President Uhuru Kenyatta's friendship with William Ruto is fake. And so, so Waititu's big fight to remain in office. Last week's ruling by High Court that governors charged with economic crimes vacate office might spell doom for Kiambu boss and others being probed. So those are just some of the problems facing Kiambu governor and others who I think the authorities are after. Some investigations are continuing and they are eyeing the people who are considered to be big fish who for a long time have been evading the long arm of the law and have been using their position to compromise, even the judicial process in this country. So right now, all eyes are in the Kenyan law courts as even this case proceed. Right now, it's happening live. And so I think Kiambu, I can see that from the television close to me, I can see Ferdinand Waititu is already in court and he'll be answering for the loss of 588 million Kenya shillings that was found missing in the account of Kiambu County. Thank you so much, our viewers. I can see you've been writing in, and Kurt Lowen, you're saying thank you, Professor, and thank you, Doc. And Onu Une, you're saying wonderful world of wisdom. I think from the clip you were watching earlier of PLO Lumumba, and I see you are appreciating his wisdom there. Ayut Echu, you're saying who's going to allow him to do that? I don't know what you're referring to, but I think from the speech of PLO Lumumba. Patch Bio, you're saying no African states has credibility and capabilities to manufacture weapons or jet flight. We have stronger engineers who may do such, but they fear of counter-attack. And Chiboy Ojimoke, thank you so much. Life in the world, Kozo Wine, thank you. So that was the standard. And we'll just look at the headlines on the Star newspaper this morning. EACC charged governors must relinquish power. And it says Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu likely to be the second casualty of the radical ruling after Samburu's Lenol Kulal. So, and if you understand the politics of Kiambu County, then you would know that Ferdinand Waititu has not been in very good terms with his deputy. So even it's not like he's relinquishing his position as the governor, but I think perhaps the deputy will be in acting position. I'm not sure what the law provides for, but it should be like that. And so governors facing graft charges are staring at a bleak future and the possibility of being hounded out of the office, even as it emerged that detectives are targeting more counties. In a landmark decision that has shaken governors to the core, the High Court ruled last week that county chiefs charged with corruption should stay away from the office. So that is something that I'm sure is giving a lot of governors many sleepless nights, because, according to the audits from the county, we saw the Auditor General, Mr. Oko, give very damning reports from the counties, especially when it comes to mismanagement of public funds and the runaway corruption that has been, that is the one thing that was devolved perfectly to the county, unfortunately. Other sectors, it's still a problem, but corruption has been fantastically devolved in all our 47 counties here in Kenya. Very unfortunate. So now EACC and other bodies mandated with this are saying they are actually stretching their tentacles, and they will be looking at some or even these reports by the Auditor General, and they're doing their own investigations, and should these governors found culpable, then they will face the full force of the law. So a lot of these governors, I think, are facing very sleepless nights. Maybe one or two or three of them will escape, but majority, I don't think so. Still on the headlines here on the Star newspapers, MPs clear PKF Kenyans to audit Oko's office. All right. So Parliament has finally settled on PKF Kenya as the external auditor who will review the Office of Auditor General's account for financial year running from 2014 to the year ending 2018. This will bring to an end to a long search for a reputable external firm to scrutinize the accounting books of the Office of the Auditor General. So you can see this seems to be another counterproductive move. But okay, let's see what PKF Kenya will find in that. Of course, Auditor General Oko has been a target because he's the one who has been bringing out these damning reports involving these politicians. So there's no way they are going to be happy with this. So now they want the Office of the Auditor General investigated and its accounts, looked at. And so yes, so I'll just take a very short break, and then Dr. Matanga will join me and we can continue with the rest of the show. Please do not go very far.
I want to call upon the people of Abazonia today, wherever you are in the diaspora in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Abazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Abazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Abazonia, because I am not from Abazonia, but I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Abazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Abazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount, as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they don't have the money, the minerals, the resources. Is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Abazonia, the leadership of Abazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako, Akanga, Milan, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Abazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining. Just before I introduce Dr. Matanga, Sam Kaga, you're saying, morning, Miriam. Kenyans of sound mind are tired of looters of Waititu's like. If now he is let free, it will be the ultimate letdown to Wanjiku, and I'm sure many Kenyans would agree with you this morning. So thank you so much. Keep writing to us, Dr. Matanga. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Miriam.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
I almost wore red in the morning and then I changed my mind.
You should always keep
Console.
the first mind.
Okay.
Yes, so that we can match,
We can match.
in this direction. As I told you, red is my color.
Yes.
Since 1969.
All right.
When I became a member of Uganda People's Congress, a party that was in power, where my father was part of the party, one of the founder members of Uganda People's Congress. I wore this red color. It has never gone away from me.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it has been misused by the Malemans, the Mr.
Bobby Wine.
Bob Wine, and other people who would like to misuse the red color, but it was our color of Uganda People's Congress.
So,
But thank you very much. That is history.
Yes.
We now tackle the best topic, one of the topics, and maybe for you,
a lot is happening.
a
this
very
morning.
humble English reader. You can read us. Our main topic today, this afternoon,
Yes.
is
Our topic is the African media becoming sensational, or is it to the level of deceit that has increased? What do you think, Doctor?
exactly the level of sensationalism. The media has sensationally become sensationalized. The editors are sensational. The editors are becoming more unpatriotic. The subject of journalism is thrown out of the window. The subject of money is coming in the window. We shall take a very serious stand on this. There is also a subject of deceit. Deceit. Africa has become deceitful. The continent is deceitful. Leaders are deceitful. You can now see the lining up of Erero, AK, commonly known as AK, and don't mention the names I told you. A and a K.
I like the way you mentioned, and then you said don't mention the names.
A and a K, the dams. We are told
Yes.
deceit, the amount of deceit, deceit, lies, is what has brought Kenya, Uganda, and the other African countries where they are. And that is what we want to address. Is the media playing a role in a deceitful manner? Are editors being paid money to write stories that are not properly investigated? What was this difficult? Standard newspaper, very near the airport, would have gone to the airport to see whether the deputy president was at the airport or not. And I want to speak the truth. I want the truth to set me free. I want to put it on record. The deputy president was not in the airport.
He was not at the airport.
He wasn't.
So why would they put
I don't
it
agree
down?
with him on a number of things, especially the way he has belittled my great brother and the way he underrates the authority of the great brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta. But on this one, he was not there. He was not at the airport. And the standard group, the earlier you write an apology, the better. because this is stupid of the lowest degree of degenerating yourselves into an editorial that picks money, hunts money, eats money, then prints. You know, I'm going to be very categorical today. People in the deputy president's office, those who deal with the editors, we know you, and we shall tell the world, the public, you are the people letting down, bringing this confusion, this type of hyper of the stress that Kenyans are going through. You are not handling the PR of the deputy president properly. Speak the truth, let it set you free.
So what would that
Kenya needs that truth. The deputy president was not at the airport. The deputy president, for the plane of the president to be changed, I've been working, and I worked with the president of Republic of Uganda, the only nationalist, Pan-Africanist, Dr. Milton Obote. I've traveled with Obote in so many countries on the same presidential planes. You just don't change the plane like that. You leave all your service commanders waiting for you in one day. It was only done during Idi Amin's days. When Idi Amin dressed in a gomas, in a lady's dress, and his ministers were waiting, there was someone is building acrimony in this country. I want to be a different person. I want to stand by my age, that you will never intimidate me, whether in Kenya, whether in where I have many African countries I can speak from, and speak very seriously. But we are not going to allow this type of stupidity of journalism, of gutter journalism, where people run with stories to bring a division, and a conflict can come out of this. As a conflict resolution expert, there are three things, and let people listen, because most of them, when they see me, they thought I came here, I'm a handout boy. No, I speak and the world speaks. Conflict resolution entails truth, accountability, and healing. Let's begin to tell the truth. Let's begin to be accountable. This, the journalists, the lawyers, look at the defense lawyers. When defense lawyers in this country go to court, they abate the removal of the suspects instead of helping the court. They are not supposed to be biased to the court because they are advocates of the court. One defense lawyer this morning, I've just been watching, and I want to be candid, he's the most stupid lawyer I have ever heard of in this world.
The one representing who?
The one representing the Italian man. This defense lawyer.
You know, we have two major cases today.
No, the Italian case of yes. A and a K.
A and K.
Don't mention the names.
The dam scandal.
Yes. The dam. No, even when you mention the dam, they will come for you. Because people were blinding our eyes. People did not want us to see. Concessional grant is different from bank guarantee. Go and read, go back to school. We have eaten the money, we've lost that money. Enjoy your money. Enjoy the money. You have eaten it. There was no bank guarantee here. It's concessional. The government of Italy was only facilitating us, helping us.
Get the loan.
Yes, you ate it. Now let's not go, and then because of that, we go and lamp lies. The Standard newspaper should retract. This is a lie. Ruto was not at the airport. So go and kill me. Write even big bad articles on me. After all, I don't use your newspaper. You even chased me from KTN. I am still on you. Yes. They said, you see, you can't be on KTN and be there when you have not paid the editors.
Oh, you have to pay the editors.
Yes!
And the producers.
Yes! Time has come for people to tell the truth. You can't be there. So people who appear there are not knowledgeable, but they appear there because they have money. I'm sorry to say this. Me, I have knowledge. Therefore, I will not appear there. I will use my television station to give Kenyans and Africans knowledge. Period. You can't appear there. You can't appear in Citizen. You can't appear in NTV when you don't have money. When you don't see somebody following you to say, excuse me, sawa unajua tulitengeleza hapa. That is happening here. And if we were to get this cancer can bring the country to a fight. You see this? This can bring a country to a fight. Therefore, there are two classes of corrupt individuals. Those who do the PR for the president, the deputy president, security, check those guys. There are guys who claim to be communication. There is a communication. There are too many bad things coming from the deputy president's office of late. Letters manufactured, this is manufactured, another letter manufactured. And now, it has extended to newspapers. Who is this? Who links up with the editors late at night to change headlines?
So from which office would this have come from, this headline? Because I don't think the Standard just sat down and wrote. Somebody must have given this information.
Let the Standard editor tell who called them. Who called them? There are people who wanted to pick money. You know, when you have, this story is very interesting. When you have been feeding people with lies, and that week there is no lie coming, you need some money from the DP. You ask, you say, Mzee, we can do another thing. There is some Machiavellian Nikolai Machiavelli tactics. The DP is a state organ. The DP is a state organ. He must be protected from such zygotism. Media zygotism. A media innuendos. Fake news. Manufactured from and within. That is not for me. Me, I tell the truth. And as I told the truth, the deputy president, I said the truth. That, sir, there is nothing like a letter. There is no bank guarantee you lied. That's a flat lie. He also gave us a flat lie. That's why I brought this topic. Is the media in Kenya sensational? Or is it the level of lying and deceit which has increased? Discuss. Miriam, ask your questions. Let's go. Well, ask me. This is who is telling the truth here? We lost money in A and K. We gone. It's gone. There is no money. Even the Italian man has failed to come back here in court. And then he has sent a stupid lawyer, a man claiming if they give you bail of 50 million, that lawyer's suit cost in the 50 shillings. His suit he was wearing in court is 50 shillings. Can that man stand for surety? Which law is this? When you are charged in Italian court, you are one, if you miss it by 20 minutes, they will issue a warrant of arrest. The Italians worked, planned, supplied, equipped, fraud.
With the Kenyan counterpart.
With the Kenyan counterparts. They should appear in court, in person.
So they did this
to take a plea.
Without the knowledge of the Italian government.
Yes, last week. The Italians said they need time to come. The magistrate said, yes, okay, today. And I want to thank my comrade friend from the coast, that new special prosecutor. That's the man. This guy knows the law. And I studied this type of things. The law of, the lawyer for the Italians. You know, these are the people who even tell the Italians that, they have academy to teach them how to steal. An Italian who goes to Rome, to Vatican to pray every day, comes here to steal a few million shillings. He has gone the whole world. And Kimosop, a very great friend of mine, who got the job. When Kimosop got this job, he found me in Intercontinental. Shoes were off laces. And I said, can you talk to someone? Mr. Kimosop, you have let me down.
Kimosop.
That former MP, you let me down. You can see that when you annoy the bridge that you passed, this is where you end. Kimosop used tribalism after getting into, Kimosop is like a Mugatana. There are people here, and like a Wamarwa. Me, I talk the truth. They use you when they have no job. They come to you, Intercontinental. Hey, help. When you help them, they reach there, they don't take your telephone. Now, you have landed. Come back.
So the Italian firm closed the shops here, their offices here in Nairobi.
They have gone.
Last week, yes.
They have gone.
So how are we going to
they know very well that the magistrate today could refuse them bail.
Can the Kenyan government...
now, the procedure, because I know the procedure. Instead of this lawyer should come to me for lessons this afternoon.
This afternoon?
Yes, I can teach them a few lessons.
They can come after the show.
I can help. He can first change his suit before you come to me.
Okay.
Your suit does not fit my eyes. I'm sorry. I'm honest. The guy stood up. He doesn't know the section 5. The magistrate said, surely, do we go back to class? Again, about plea. You don't bring in an application before the plea. That judge said, are you sure? The guy said, oh, I want the court to, that one is my lawyer. I sack you. Even in the court, I take over. Me, David, I take over. So we have a problem here, Miriam.
Yes.
The media in Kenya is sensational. It writes what you want. If you have no money in this country, don't expect to be seen on TV. So the Matanga's TV, where people are not charged.
Yes. Silvanus, one of our viewers here, is saying, I'm not a lawyer, but I was embarrassed. The judge was embarrassed too. So it was that bad, the court.
Very bad. Very, very, very bad. I was embarrassed. As a man who has gone to school, I felt like jumping through the window.
And helping or doing what?
No, if you see a landman who's supposed to be the guardian of the law.
Yes.
And does not know, he even goes to the extent of pleading, taking a plea on behalf of the clients. This is a criminal matter. It's not a civil matter. This is a criminal matter that can take you 20 years in jail.
Hold on, he took a plea.
He took a plea. So, which, PLO Lumumba, did you teach these people in LDC? Are you all right also, PLO Lumumba, wherever you are?
PLO is all right.
No!
They must have missed that class. We can blame it on the good professor now.
Professor PLO Lumumba.
And the corruption that is at the Kenya Law School.
Yes.
The Kenya School of
Some of these guys seem to have picked certificates without understanding what the basics of the law is. You can't say a criminal matter of this nature, which is going to take down is a criminal matter, is equivalent to murder. It is in the category of murder. It can take you down 10 years, 20 years. Even some courts can give you life. Because according to the money that was lost. An economic crime.
It's a very serious crime.
And then you cannot come as a lawyer and say, I've taken plea on behalf of a Mzungu. Because of a Mzungu.
A white man.
A white, yeah, that's, you see, the problem in Kenya is this. You go to a restaurant, even the waitress serve the white man first.
I've seen that.
Sorry, time has come, and I agree with the prosecutor that if it had been Italian court, where you have swindled millions and millions of poor people, poor Kenyans taxpayer, poor people of A and K,
would have changed a lot of lives over there.
which would have changed a lot of lives. The prosecutor will issue a warrant of arrest and tell police, Italian police, to go now and break down your door. If you are inside pretending to be sick, they will carry you on a stretcher. And here in Kenyan courts, a lumpen judge, I have seen another judge coming back there. This one here, this fifth, this man. This is why you spoiled this country.
Are you doing the lawyer or
this gender?
The lawyer.
This is the lawyer what?
For YT to, I think.
He has come to fix cases now. He's back from his broke deals. He was broke. Now he's come back. Ogenda, even if I'm going to be sentenced to death, never come to test to give me salvation. Thieves.
Thieves.
Call a thief a thief. Call the truth truth. His Excellency Dr. Ruto was not in the airport. If the Standard has another airport where Ruto was, let the Standard publish that there was another airport where Ruto was. Now to Chicago, so that some of these editors who go there to work, because you hate so and so, you have to write a story. You are spoiling our profession. You are spoiling the profession of journalism. You are spoiling the profession of investigative journalism. What was the difficulty for the Standard newspaper to send a person who is 10 minutes away from the airport or 20 to find out whether the DP was there or not? Then you relied on social media to ring around and say a story has emerged at the airport. And two, what are the DP's PR machine not able to say our deputy was not there?
Yesterday he was where was he yesterday? He was at a function.
No, that Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Why are they quiet? Because they played a trick.
Even the same Saturday he was at a function.
Yes. He wasn't there. They played a trick. They have been giving money. You know they make these things to eat money. Handouts. Bring 200,000, Standard needs it. 300, the editor needs 200,000. Yeah, wait, this is it. Hapa tuseme ukweli. There's no journalism in this country. It's not there. You cannot go to that TV. You have knowledge to tell the world. You have knowledge about Eurobond. You know what Eurobond is. But Masanga, you cannot be allowed to be on that television because you don't have the money. That Ageyo told me that if you go on insulting Baba, I'll remove you from KTN. Ageyo, that is Ageyo. He told me himself. I was removed from the panel because I was stating the facts about what Raila was doing. I was removed. K24. I was telling the truth. Another lumpen editor called Opondo took me off. He came and lied to me that Ruto had told him to remove me. Him, Opondo. because you have failed to buy him a beer in a nightclub. Opondo likes begging beer in a club. So when he finds you seated, he interrupts you, begging beer. Oh, nununie pombe. That's it. Our disagreement started from there. Stupidity. I left. I don't care. And they bring people half-baked. Some of them don't know where the Eurobond was sold. They don't know the street, how the Eurobond is. They think the Eurobond is big bread that you cut with a knife. That's why they go on stealing names. My name was stolen. I've not made noise.
Eurobond is a piece of bread. It's a loaf of bread. Yeah.
Editors don't have anything. That these media houses, SK Machari and the rest, please sit down and look at your media editorials. The people there don't have any story. Look at the copy paste. So, look at the copy paste. Mm-hmm. The copy paste of a play that East Africa has the best what? There is something being played on television.
East Africa Got Talent, I think.
East Africa has talent. Mm. Is that a program you can bring here in Kenya? Why don't you call it Africa Has a Talent? And don't use the tactics of Bazungu. Do you have stress centers for the people you are going to disappoint? Do you? I'm asking a question. Why do we copy everything from Britain or from America? Do you have stressful centers for stress? When you tell somebody that you are out, you know you can make that child go and commit suicide. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. We don't have social structures that can help this child after he has
lost the
competition. Mm. After having done so well, thinking that his voice or her voice was the best. You tell there and you say, ah. And yet, you who is saying it, how did you reach there? Look at the qualifications on the people on the panel. No, look at the qualification.
Has the show started? I've not.
Gaetano.
I've not.
No, look at Gaetano.
Gaetano has been involved here in a few shows.
Yes, involved in what? From the Big Brother. And then it rose to that. What was he? Mm-hmm. What qualities has he got? What can he give the society? I don't want even to go further because I could injure some people.
Let's just leave that. But East Africa has talent.
Look at all this. Look at here. When I was telling the truth, and I said, there is a problem here. And Esther Muthoni Wanjiru, you can look for another television to watch. Don't watch me. Have I called you to watch me? I have a right to talk the way I have. Unless you want me to give you a package of insults. This is not a station you play about. Go and play with Kameme. Please. There are no free counseling centers. In Britain, there are free counseling centers. Mm-hmm. Now you bring Africa has got a talent. When people there will commit suicide. When he hears he's missing 2 million Kenya shillings or 5 million that he was going to get. And then you go back, everybody laughs at you that your voice was not very good. You look like you get a sword and kill yourself. Mm. But on a serious note, the story in the Standard raises a lot of sub-standards. And the editors are running around everywhere, trying to say I was not the one, I was not. No. Why didn't you go to the airport? You can't hear of a person in Weston that I heard about somebody. Another one said, I think I had security. Which security? As the president has got a spokesperson. Has the spokeswoman of the president said the president meets the deputy president? No. These are Nikolai Machiavelli boys who are running the deputy president is bad, creating him a bad image amongst one voters, amongst the friends of the deputy president themselves. Like some of us, we cannot access the deputy president because of malice. I don't know how me, a foreigner who came to stand for a deputy president, should be maliced. My name should be in his lips of a bad person. When I came all the way from my house in London to defend this guy, how I should be maliced? I didn't know him. I've never had lunch at his house. I've never had coffee at his house. These media men rounding the deputy president there, they are the people. Why is it that everything wrong is coming from there?
From the deputy president's office.
Manufactured letters. This manufactured another one. This is something that the government must look into. We don't want a conflict. We don't want a conflict. And that is why today I'm telling you, Kenya needs a redemption strategy. Hello? Hello? You need a redemption strategy. You need a redemption strategy. If you don't have it, don't blame Matanga, I didn't tell you. Listen to the BBI, listen to those problems. They might not be the overall, but they have some sense. The 9 points, you need them. You need to listen to them. However much you make 1 million referendum, you will never heal if you don't have a redemption strategy.
Yes, indeed. And Doctor, I'm just wondering, why would whoever who planted this story, what would have been the intention of them? What do they want to achieve with such a...
To divert us from the A and the K. Let me have my tea.
To the point.
Yes, I hit the point, didn't it? Divert us from the crisis of A and the K. Yesterday, they were going to do, today, there is another phase 2. And I always speak the truth. Phase 2 is coming.
Phase 2 of what?
Of arrest. Of course, phase 2.
It is coming.
The DPP told us that there is a phase 2.
And they're looking at some people.
Yes.
Doctor, before you sip your tea, and it's getting cold there, but in today's newspapers here, of course, the ruling that came that was given to Kiambu Governor Waitito, who is right now is in the court there being represented by Tom Ojenda, as we can see from here. And the judge initially said he should step aside from his duty as the governor until the case is over. Will this set a precedence? Because is there a place in the law that actually requires them to step aside if they're being investigated in matters such as corruption?
If you ask me what the Kenyan MPs should do, there is nothing in the constitution that talks about stepping aside. There is something in the constitution that's very clear. You have violated chapter 6. Resign.
A public office.
Yeah. Public
integrity. And integrity, yes.
Get out, resign. Stepping aside does not solve the problem of Kenya. If he steps aside, he will all the time get permission from the police to go to the office to intimidate the workers.
He can't go there by himself.
He can go by company, but intimidate others. Resign. Let the people in Kenya and Africa and Uganda and the rest, if you behave like Japanese, if you have committed a crime big enough, get a sword and cut yourself.
Cut yourself.
In North Korea, South Korea,
yes,
the president of South Korea, who came to Intercontinental Hotel, and
a friend of hers
used her ticket to come to Intercontinental Hotel. That friend was the chief advisor. When the woman went back, the court, someone filed an application that this woman bought a ticket for this lady to go to Kenya. And the woman resigned.
She's actually, is she in jail?
She's in jail.
Facing corruption charges, which are very shallow.
Very shallow.
If you
she didn't even steal more than $20,000. She's serving sentence in jail.
She didn't even directly steal it.
No.
She allowed her friends.
To use it.
Influence, yes.
Let the law in Kenya become so angry with its natives.
Punitive.
Not even in Kenya alone. Uganda. At least Uganda, for us, for example, people say I talk about Kenya. Let me talk about Uganda. You cannot get bail in that Republic of Museveni, of ours.
Yes.
If you have committed a crime concerning a corruption, you'll stay 6 months in jail.
As you await for your case to conclude, or the investigations to be concluded,
6 months.
Francis Hub is telling you, doctor, continue telling the truth. And Asu Onyoni, nice to see you this morning. Good morning to you. It's good afternoon here, I think. Yes. So will this affect, these other governors, because we know the reports that we've been getting from the counties, there's been a lot of mismanagement of funds. So should they get worried? Because I know the ESCC, DVP, DCI is after them. Should they resign already, or should they just wait
to
catch up with
the case? The case is justicing. The only judge left who is redeeming the court, his name is Justice Mumbi Gungi.
Yes. She's the one who gave that directive. Yes.
She's doing a very good job interpreting the law. The rest are interpreting money. Including Justice Mwiru.
The new money or the other money?
The new money.
Okay. Not the other one that has been stashed in the houses.
You see, when you see this money has come back, that's the money fixer. What is his name?
Tom Ojenda.
Mr. Tom Ojenda is the fixer. Yeah.
John Clark, thank you. Nice to see you this afternoon. You're saying many stooges at media agency houses, shameless working under these sectors. And somebody else also said here earlier. Let me just get that. Halima Ibrahim, you're saying Halima Ibrahim, you're saying the problem is a lot of these TV stations are owned by the big fish in the country, so they get to influence the editorial team.
I am telling you. I don't know what the big fish told Ageyo, who told me that I insult Raila every day. I should not be allowed on TV. Ageyo. And he is now the editor of a Kikuyu television station owned by my friend S.K. Macharia. Transferred the same habits to that television station. Yet Macharia is trying to get a television station working from Uganda. So if you discriminate a Ugandan here, why do you go to our place to install a television station? Linus Kaikai were there last week. I put a name. Those are wrong people. Until S.K. Macharia, I meet him and tell him, me, I am an activist. I tell the truth. Crying. Look, people told me that the people have stolen your name, go and accuse them. I am going to cry only. Cry. And you will see. Cry, my tears. I cried. Ocampo was taking people. I cried. Every night I was dreaming. These young men are being taken for life. The sentence they are taking these guys was for life. Until I defeated them.
Yes.
If you touch anything of this man, Matsanga, the blood is too hot. So I saw Linus Kaikai there in Kampala trying to see Museveni. I fixed it. Nail. No, these are wrong people.
Okay.
I tell the truth. Linus Kaikai, Ogeyo, these are very dangerous people. If I have a media house, even in mine here, I can't employ them. I'd rather give that money to some people else or throw it in an ocean. There are people that you cannot employ in any management. Then as Kaikai was going to be beaten by Obasanjo in Mombasa. I had to hold Obasanjo. Say, Your Excellency, we are on a panel. Please don't do this. These are the people who claim to have the high cadre of what? What do they have? What programs are here in this television? Ask them which country. They will go and do research. Ask them when Gaddafi became a president. They don't know. If you bring them here for questions, they don't know. In fact, they will be embarrassed. Bring them and Matanga on the same panel and ask for African issues. Some of them don't know. I can tell you who was the king, Idris, who was overthrown by Gaddafi. But if you ask them, they will bring them abruptly, surround us in a room for an interview, that they are editors. How do you allow such a story, silly story? The deputy president was not around there. All security agencies in Kenya will tell you he was not there. This is a property of the government. We should not bring divisions in a property of the government. To antagonize the system, you can hate anybody. I don't like the way the deputy president and his group of mercenaries belittle the president.
Mercenaries.
Yes.
It's a very big word, Doctor.
I am telling you.
Yes.
I don't like the way they insult my friend. I don't care whether I'm here or in London or where in South Africa or Harare, those countries I can, even Tanzania, I can speak from there. But I don't like the way they belittle the president who is in charge of the country. But I cannot tell a lie about him. No. In order to get what? This is a lie. The standard must withdraw. Let's move on. That was the topic of today.
has the DP's office, I'm curious, have they given a statement to counter
I think
this?
That is another question. Why are the DP office not giving a statement? Because they fear that the other person, the journalist there, will say, but it is you who told us. It's a Machiavellian game. Wawa. I told you. It's a Machiavellian game.
All right. Politics, yeah.
Somebody knows what he's doing. They wanted, you remember when yesterday another one called Murkomen, a leader of majority, you want to come on TV on Sunday to blast the same government.
That you're part of.
Yes.
You're representing as the majority.
Then you are majority then you wear a suit on Tuesday, become the leader of majority. What majority leader is that? There are certain things you can do, but there are certain things you cannot do. Corruption, everybody is trying to fight it. This money, we knew it was gone. It was only people who were maybe half dead in the grave and walking who could believe that a banker guarantee could secure this money. But me, David, with my age and experience and my education and having studied J.A. Bright and I studied business administration, a banker guarantee conditions.
You did business administration?
Yes.
Good.
I've been a businessman also.
There's a lot of information over there.
I run a nightclub in London.
Okay. I didn't
People
know.
talk about doing things before they became great. I ran the only black African nightclub, black African, that collected Kenyan, Tanzanians, Zimbabweans, and the Ugandans. On Club 791, Thornton Heath, London Road. It is still there. I sold it to another African for £100,000. Don't ask me where it went.
I know the story. All right, so that is what is happening this morning. So as we speak right now, the case against the governor for Kiambu is ongoing at the Milimani Law Courts. There he's being represented, if I'm not wrong, there by Tom Ojienda. I've been seeing him making some submissions over there, and so EACC charged governors must relinquish power. So that is something that we wait to see. I'd not looked at the July A pay shock for teachers and pay slips indicating higher salaries were ready for dispatch 2 weeks ago. Then a court ruled against TSC in a dispute between the commission and NAT, and now teachers, the pounds in this game of might, are paying the price. So teachers unions, they are fighting, and let's see how that will work out. So Mr. Sudi has been very vocal, Doctor, and here, according to The Nation here, I'll just read an excerpt of that, saying old habits die hard, and if you dispute that, look at Kapsaret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, perhaps the most vocal politician now wherever a crowd gathers. So they're saying old habits die hard, and they're referring to Mr. Sudi. And here on the Standard, he said, William Ruto, let me tell you, your friendship with President Uhuru Kenyatta is fake. He went to say that, Mr. Sudi there. So anyway, it's interesting times here. Doctor, do I just go through quickly what is making headlines in Africa, and then we can wrap it all together? Or you want to talk about Sudi?
Sudi.
Yes.
The deputy president, there's nobody against him. It's the shadows. I speak as an elder.
The shadows of what? The ghosts.
His own, like this. These people are all hangers on. Where were they in 2009? Where was Sudi? Sudi tried to go to ICC in 2015.
Not 9.
Not 9.
So where was he in 2009?
They feared to go there. Because some of them are the ones who wrote statements to fix this man. Some of them, they're the deputy president here. There are people who have hidden in this government who really wanted these people jailed for life. And they are hidden in this government. They are still making money, even driving cars, and they have security. And that's where the problem is. If you love the DP so much, why do you go? This Nyoro I was paying him 5,000 shillings on this television station, every appearance, because he's a technical man on media, on business. He used to talk about the business. Now he has reached there. He has just discovered he's landed in 2 free things. He has turned on everybody, spreading malice. This lady here is an MCA. Once MCA, you remain MCA. Madame Waiguru, she's instead of talking for women.
Waruguru.
She's talking to be seen that she's more hard when the DP is criticized.
You think she's not? Maybe she's hurt. She's been a very strong defender of the deputy president, that is for sure.
Everybody who is not a defender of the deputy president, all of us, because he's a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, everybody must support him. But for you, if you become a lunatic in your support, it's like fundamentalists, Muslim fundamentalists. Everybody likes religion. But some people go to extreme to pray it in a different way by assassinating and killing and laying bombs to kill people. Doesn't mean all Muslims hate Islam or all Muslims behave the same way. No.
And the Muslim as a religion is a very peaceful religion.
Christian fundamentalists killing people, shooting people, because in Australia and in New Zealand, because they are Muslims. No. These characters can indicate that you can even kill your friend because of the love for the leader. We don't do that.
Yes.
All of us love the deputy president. We only criticize the wrong things. But there is nobody who has hatred like me, David Matang. I don't have hatred that I can go and do something very bad against the deputy president. No, I don't have it. But it is these people who have sat around there, who want to pick handout, that now the handout erupts from standard. Why is it that Mugwanya or Mugunya cannot pick a paper up and a pen and write, say a deputy president was not in this place? He must have leaked information there. That's why the standard people are adamant that we know who told us.
And now you're leaking those names. Now you're leaking the names, Doctor. And in that story, while we're still on that story, just the last part there, while they mentioned that the deputy president was together with the now embattled Kiambu governor, Mr. Ferdinand Waititu, and I wondered, what in the world? So apparently, DP William Ruto was there with Ferdinand Waititu, and they were going to receive the president. Of all the people, he would have chosen to take him there.
Who?
Ferdinand Waititu, apparently, or with the DP at the airport to receive the president. And I thought, this guy has enough problems already with the law. So why would
but the DP had some, he was in another, he wasn't at the airport. On this one, they them hate me, but I've said I don't believe in Tanga group politics. I don't believe in factionalism. I have never been told, as a friend of the party, I'm not a member of Jubilee Party. I speak as an investigative journalist. After seeing these things since yesterday, I started asking the key men who are supposed to be welcoming the president. And at least 2 of them or 3 say the deputy president was not there. And these are men who have taken oath. And listen carefully, who have taken oath, and who always welcome the deputy president, the president. So if they didn't see the deputy president there, where is the ghost? Was there a ghost? No, honestly, let's talk seriously. Was there a ghost at the airport? CCTVs at the airport don't indicate any arrival of the deputy president. And for you to change the decorum, the sense of protocol for the president is very wrong.
Because it is said, according to the standard, that he used the normal international arrival section, and he did not go to the presidential pavilion that normally he would be expected there when they're saying the DP was waiting for him there. So the president did not use that. So according to the standard, he used the international arrival there. So, okay, let's see if... I'm not sure because I did not check Twitter or social media on the DP's account or his office. So hopefully they can give a statement to rectify this. And if not, then that would be very, very interesting on their part. So, yes, thank you so much. And I see a lot of you here. Steve Odiko, you're saying Sudi knows nothing. He is the Lord of Poverty. And Agwot there, Wani, thank you. And you're having a very interesting conversation there with Brian Ratemo. You two are engaging in an exchange there. Okay, all right. You're saying Dr. Matanga has never been vocal against Museveni. I think he does. Maybe the days when you're not watching. Yes, so thank you. Thank you. Keep writing to us. And let us know where you're watching us from. And the John Clark, you're saying Kenyans should not mislead Kenya should not be misled with fake news of doomed haters. And they're also saying that it's true the president cannot pass his DP. And all right. Dr. Matanga, why don't you talk how to reject the Western countries, China and Arabs in Africa, so Africans can be better off? So, all right. So those are some of your questions that you're asking. Let me just take us through what is making headlines in Africa this morning, and then we'll come back to that news here. Doctor, should I do that?
Yeah.
All right, so we start with Sudan, and talks are to resume today between Sudanese protesters and ruling generals on remaining issues related to installing a transitional civilian administration. A mediator and a protest leader has confirmed. African Union mediator Mohamed El Haken Lebat said in a statement on Sunday that the two sides have been invited for final talks on the constitutional declaration. And in South Africa, the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, South Africa's third largest party, it was 6 years old yesterday, and the party was celebrating with a rally at the Kanyamazene Stadium in Mpumalanga province. And still in South Africa, and an advisory report on land reform in South Africa has recommended changing the constitution to allow the government to seize land without compensation, but only in certain circumstances. The report by Presidential Panel of Experts released on Sunday poured water on a wholesale land seizures without payment as feared by some farmers, investors, and foreign governments. And the United Nations in Mogadishu received a new batch of Ugandan soldiers a day after a deadly suicide attack that claimed the lives of 6 and injured 5, including badly wounding the mayor of Mogadishu. And in Nigeria, at least 65 people have lost their lives after suspected Boko Haram militants opened fire on a funeral in Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno. Gunmen arrived on motorcycles and in vans at the village near the state capital, Maiduguri, on Saturday. Eyewitnesses say a number of mourners were reportedly killed straight away, while others died trying to chase off the attackers. And still in Nigeria, and of course we talked about this yesterday, and a Nigerian court has granted the government permission to label a local Shia group as a terrorist organization. And we go to Somalia, where insecurity in Somalia is diminishing the numbers of refugees willing to return home from Dadaab camps in northern Kenya, the United Nations said recently. A total of 84,230 Somalis have taken part in the UN's voluntary return program since its inception 5 years ago. So far this year, fewer than 1,400 have gone back to Somalia under UN auspices. And in South Sudan, the regional body that negotiated the South Sudan peace agreement, IGAD, is now lobbying for a face-to-face meeting between President Salva Kiir and opposition leader Riek Machar to build confidence. The Intergovernmental Authority for Development noted that lack of meetings between the two leaders has been cited as one of the challenges impeding the implementation of the peace process. And we go to Tanzania, where what started as a letter by 2 former Secretary General of Tanzania's ruling party defending themselves against allegations of trying to block President John Magufuli for running in 2020 saw the sacking of January Makamba, the son of one of the letter's authors, Yusuf Makamba, from cabinet last week. And in the DRC, the two rival political camps in Democratic Republic of Congo on Friday forged a pact on forming a government 6 months after President Felix Tshisekedi took power from veteran ruler Joseph Kabila. Officials have said Kabila's Common Front for Congo FCC coalition won comfortable majorities in both houses of parliament as well as provincial assemblies, and there will be a government of 65 members, 42 coming from the FCC and 23 from CACH, which is the party of President Felix Tshisekedi. So that is the latest from Africa this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. So Boko Haram continues to cause mayhem in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Salva Kiir was in Khartoum.
Was in Addis Ababa. No, Salva Kiir was in Khartoum.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, he was meeting with the leaders.
Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That one I'm always in line.
Yes, yes.
With my general, yes. Lieutenant General Duglo.
Yes.
Daglo. Mm-hmm. Riek refused to see him.
Is it Riek that refused, or Machar, the President Salva Kiir had said he will meet Riek, but only in Juba? He gave that condition before he went there.
No. Mm-hmm. You see?
So Riek refused. Salva Kiir went to Khartoum, and Riek refused to see the president. Yes. So what is the problem now?
And you know what? Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with Africa is that we don't listen to us. We black people listen to none other than a white person coming to give us a lesson. Mm-hmm. Miriam, there will be no peace in South Sudan mm-hmm. if there is no military, no tribunal, no United Nations tribunal that will force people to run to the table to sign that agreement and hold it. The only catalyst that will bring peace in South Sudan is when you say you have formed an international tribunal on South Sudan that will look into the atrocities committed, heinous atrocities committed by both the government and the rebels. Everybody, even Riek, will leave that Khartoum with the fastest plane to reach Juba and try to do peace, and the peace will return. Accountability in any situation of that nature is paramount. Truth, accountability creates healing. If you don't tell the truth, if you don't account, there can never be peace. IGAD can run up to Mars, return with the same jet fighter back, but there will be no peace in South Sudan. As long as there is no accountability. There is thing lacking in the entire structure of the peace process of South Sudan is accountability.
It's accountability. So now IGAD here is insisting that they're working on negotiating for South Sudan peace deal. But as we know right now, IGAD and the member states in IGAD, they're very biased when it comes to South Sudan. Are they even the right people here to negotiate the peace deal on behalf of South Sudan?
Who in IGAD will be neutral? Kenya. Is it neutral?
I think it is so far.
Uganda, is it neutral? Ethiopia, are they neutral? Sudan itself is under war, under siege. People are coming on the street every time. You know how much money Sudan loses by closing the airport?
It's a lot of money.
Each airplane passing the Sudan airspace pays $3,000 per flight. Coming and going up, that's $6,000. It is losing it because the people are on strike down on the airport. The airport is, it does not matter when there is an emergency. The airport on the pathway of the plane must always be not on strike. That's the rule, international rule. Because a plane can decide that it's not going, it has a mechanical problem. It will look for the nearest landing airport. That's why they planned the route. But the people are on demonstration throughout. Since last year, December, they have been demonstrating. No, actually, from last year, September, demonstrations have been rocking Khartoum. To date, we are going to 1 year. There are still demonstrations in Khartoum. So how will it, guarantee the peace? How? Is a member of IGAD. Ethiopia is on a precipice of disaster.
It is.
Anytime, Ethiopia, there will be chaos.
There are chaos there as we speak. That group
People are not
have its own state. Yes.
Yes. Uganda is a party. Its troops can move in Juba in and out if they want. Ethiopia also has its own preference. Kenya is accused by Riek that it is biased towards Salva Kiir.
Yes.
Tell me, IGAD cannot create peace in South Sudan. IGAD should hand over South Sudan to the United Nations Security Council for further forwarding towards Jerusalem.
Towards Jerusalem. So outside of IGAD, which other perhaps African setting, before we even go there to the Western world, which other African solution can we
There is no African setting that can manage.
There's no African solution?
No.
Before we go to the West.
It is impossible, it is gone. They have committed crimes beyond the sins of Jesus, of what God put there. 384,000 people have been killed, murdered, lost in the war in South Sudan. You cannot tell me you are doing a political peace without looking at humanitarian peace the catastrophe, the suffering. Let's structure the accountability structure of peace first. You put there a tribunal, like we put the Rwanda tribunal. Why peace has returned in Rwanda is the tribunal. It's not Kagame. Kagame played on the 70, about 60% of making sure that nobody again in Rwanda does the things. But another 35% or 40% was played by the tribunal. The people found guilty. And Kagame later on raised his level of peace, of a peace, a permanent solution by creating what we call Gachacha courts. Accountability. Alternative mechanisms of accountability. Gachacha courts in Rwanda played a very vital role in stabilizing Rwanda. Rwanda today is a stabilized state because of Gachacha. Now you want to tell me South Sudan, you want to stabilize Riek Machar with 5 vice presidents? 5
vice presidents.
It's the highest country in Africa with vice presidents.
What is the population?
The population of about 9 million to 10
requires 5 vice presidents.
Yes.
And the bad economic side.
The more you go on adding presidents, maybe the entire cabinet will become president.
Become prime ministers, perhaps. But now you've mentioned the Gachacha courts, which is very important and played a very big role in terms of, bringing peace and stability in Rwanda. How is this now different from the hybrid court that was meant to be formed in South Sudan? And are you in support of the hybrid court?
Let me tell you, South Sudan is a case we East Africans should wash hands off and hand it over the United Nations Security Council. That United Nations Security Council appoint a special envoy. A special envoy plus create an international tribunal, whether hybrid, whether local breed, hybrid, whatever you want to name it, whether African Union Court, whatever. First seek accountability. Peace will return. Without accountability, the ghosts of the people killed still haunt this peace process.
400,000 plus. And one of our viewers here too, Kuich Lodge, brought a very interesting but very sad point here. And he's saying South Sudan civil war became a source of income to IGAD leaders. So they used this to benefit the IGAD leaders. Really, the peace in South Sudan was not their priority. What's your opinion on that, Doctor?
I can't agree with him more. There are people who have gained. Millions have disappeared. Even the president himself says he'll pay Mr. Reinberger 1.7 million.
He's not able to afford the 3.5?
Yeah, for workers. But he's able to pay Reinberger.
All righty there. And in earlier July, the government invited Dr. Machar to Juba for consultations, but the SPLM-IO demanded that he first be released from house confinement in Khartoum and be allowed to bring in his external security detail from Sudan. So Dr. Machar was saying, if you want me to come to Juba, then I have to come with my external security detail from Sudan. Was he right to make these demands? And he's under house arrest apparently in Khartoum. So he's wanting that to be lifted first as one of his, demands before he can go to Juba.
Let me tell you, there are things that I can agree and disagree. One of the things I disagree totally, and I want to wash my hands
of it,
is you talking about any format
in Africa.
It can't work.
It can't. It has refused to work.
No.
Or they have refused to work with that.
Yes. Just create an international tribunal on South Sudan, and everything will fall in place.
Okay then, and there we are. So yes, Bol Nyang, you're saying South Sudan is a failed. Did you mean a failed country or? And Odu Homoi, you're saying great points there. Doctor, let the file of South Sudan be forwarded to United Nations Security Council and ICC to handle. You guys want to still keep ICC there. When you keep giving them more cases, it will get a lifeline. And Doctor, and Odu Homoi, you're saying IGAD is a jackhole. And why do we want the Western countries involved while rejecting African peace process? That is a question Agot you're asking this morning. And of course, yes, a lot of you are in agreement that South Sudan's files should be forwarded to the United Nations Security Council and possibly the ICC. Thank you. Brian Rotemo, you're saying you're watching us all the way from Arlington, Texas. I think it's early morning there. Good morning to you, and thank you for watching us today. And Silvanos is tuned in from Kisumu. I've not been able to catch up with you guys from the past 1 week. Okay, so welcome back, and thank you for watching us. Steve Odiko is saying Dr. Masanga is always right. People fear talking the truth. I need more popcorn. Spill it out. Someone went to get more popcorn, some Coke. And they're enjoying your truth bombs. They're called truth bombs. So, yes.
Meanwhile, while we are on air, the Standard newspaper says early on there was a letter circulating saying the same people that the board has said the story was inaccurate. Now, the Standard newspaper says, yes, that letter was fake. And now, why don't they say what is correct? Why can't they say plainly that they stand by their story? Right.
They've issued a statement.
Yes.
Oh.
They say the thing was fake, but they are not telling us that the earlier thing was fake. Somebody wrote it. The editorial board now says the right position is that we are Africans. Let me say, they haven't told us the story yet. Whether we believe which story, we don't know. So we are still in catch-22 position.
And hopefully by the end of the day, you should come out and clear, the air for Kenyans and the rest, and especially for the office of the DP, who I think should have already made a statement to disregard that. Yes, but the Standard, I think they owe Kenyans an explanation and clear the air for all of us.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to take a brief comment which can become Africa School of Thought on the question of the media, and deceit. Yes?
Yes. You go right ahead.
Viewers, time and time again, Kenya has witnessed a number of stories, some appearing in our local medias, in media stations, and the print media, regarding certain aspects of governance in Africa. African media presents the fourth estate which is the fourth arm in terms of governance. But is the African media equivalent to its role in the community? Do they play a role of pointing out errors, mistakes, pointing out areas that need to be looked into by the governments? Do they have the capability, the capacity to sustain themselves without outside interference? In several countries in Africa, a journalist has become, or journalism has become, a source of deceit, not a source of information. The core subject of journalism, therefore, entails to give information, accurate information, to the public. But it seems certain people within this profession tend to look at the khaki envelope or the brown envelope more than looking at the facts that affect the ordinary citizens of Africa. Today, we have seen plenty of deceit, an increased number of lies told on each and every aspect of life, from politics, economy, social life, name it. Africa is witnessing the era of deceit, the era of fake news, the era of fakeness, simply because our morals have decayed. We lost it out in morals, starting from the churches, parliament, judiciary, and all other institutions that take part in governance. Therefore, it is up to us in Africa to implement truth, accountability that leads to healing. Truth will relieve us, will show us the journey to accountability. And accountability will lead us to healing. Until we do that, in Kenya, for example, healing will be a mirage. I therefore urge the people to look at the redemption strategy as the core pattern in the healing process of this nation. Let there be true and truth. Justice will follow and flow like honey flows out of the beehive. Thank you.
Well said. Truth has to set us free.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. And for those who have ears, let them hear. And we want to thank you so much, our viewers, for your very valued company today and for making this show a success. So we see them on our next broadcast.
Oh?
Our viewers.
Yes.
All right. So we'll see you.
We can see them on our next broadcast?
Yes, they can. Yes.
When do you want to have it? This afternoon?
We can, no problem.
Yes, especially what is it called? You can prepare the People's Court.
The People's Court, all right.
I think there's quite a lot of
to talk about
interesting material about the People's Court.
Mm-hmm.
So many fake stories,
mm-hmm.
so many people charged, so many people absent in court, warrants of arrest issued, money disappearing. People's Courts could heal us.
All right.
Can we extend it to 4?
All right. So we'll see you at the People's Court in the afternoon. So, but for now, thank you so much.
Viewers, good morning. This morning I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018 that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake, one lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Thank you.